Okay, good morning. Now we are live again. I apologize. My screen got started before I was quite ready. I guess I hit the wrong key. So good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. You all come on in. Tag a neighbor, tag a friend, and you all come on in on this morning. Let me see here. I can get a few people in. You all just come on in. Tag a neighbor, tag a friend. I hope everybody had a good holiday on yesterday. It was a nice day. It was a nice day yesterday. Kind of a little bit chilly, but it was okay. It was okay if you got started early enough. Anyway, please like and share across your various social media networks. I appreciate that. You're doing that. And let me introduce myself. For those of you that may not know who I am Lady Victoria of Victoria School of Etiquette, where we offer a solution to your etiquette dilemmas. I'm broadcasting to you live this morning from the great windy city of Chicago. Chi-Town is what we like to call it. We are the best in the Midwest, and I welcome you to our broadcast on this morning. It's Tuesday, so it's Tidbit Tuesday on today, and we're going to just share a little tidbit of information that I hope that you find helpful. And if it's not helpful to you, thank you for passing it on to someone else where it may be helpful onto them. So you all come on in again. Like I said, tag a neighbor, tag a friend, and we're going to go on and get started. We're talking about mistakes this morning. We all make mistakes in life. Sometimes we are aware of the mistakes that we make, and sometimes we are not. We're not aware that what we said or did was a mistake, or that it was an error, or that it was something that might have been rude or displeasing to someone else. So with that being said, how can you go back and fix it after it has already gone forth? After you've made the mistake, after you've done the thing, can you go back and fix it? Do we oftentimes have the ability to go back and fix it? Sometimes we can go back and fix it, but you can't undo a thing that's already been done. Once it's been done, it's out there. It's in the atmosphere. It's in the environment, and it's been done already. But you can make apologies. You can do your best to rectify it. You can do your best to change your behavior, or of course, make sure that you have the right information so the next time you're in that same said situation that you aren't making the same mistake over again. If not to that same person, then to the next person whose company you might be in. So let's talk a little bit about that this morning. We are addressing some of the top 10 etiquette mistakes that people make, or behaviors that people make oftentimes without even realizing that they've done so. So it's not the end of the world. We all make mistakes all of the time. But again, when we know better, we do better, right? So let's jump on in this morning, and please don't be shy about sharing your comments in the section below. I actually enjoy you doing that, because it helps me to know how to best help someone else that might have the same issue. Sometimes people are shy about asking questions about how to correct a thing. Good morning. Thank you for joining our broadcast on this morning. So sometimes people are shy about asking questions, but sometimes they get the answer when I'm addressing it in a format like this. So let's just talk a little bit about it. Some of the mistakes that we make. Do you ever go to a dinner party or any kind of gathering? Good morning. Thank you for joining our broadcast. Do you ever go to a dinner party or any kind of event empty-handed? That's anything from a backyard barbecue to a formal dinner party, especially when it's being hosted in someone's home. Should you or should you not bring a gift? If you're wondering what is the proper protocol, the protocol is to always bring a small gift for the host or the hostess. You say, oh, well, I don't know what they like. I don't know what their favorite color is. I have no idea what to bring. Well, in that case, you can always ask ahead of time. You can always ask the host or the hostess, what should I bring? Sometimes a gift can be something that you can bring to add to dinner. If it's a backyard barbecue, just showing up with a case of water is a good idea. For those that are indulging in alcoholic beverages, it's always a good idea to bring a bottle of wine. That's always in order, or some kind of drink that's going to be befitting to the situation and the circumstances. If you're going to a formal dinner party, you probably wouldn't show up with a case of beer for the host or the hostess. Probably not. Wine would be more appropriate in that situation. But always showing up with something small. If it's not anything contributing to the dinner or to the meal, it's always appropriate just to bring flowers to the host or the hostess. Even if it's a man, you can still bring flowers to a man. You want to bring something that is going to be significant towards the friendship that you all have, the relationship that you all have, something on that order. You can always bring a gift like that. Flowers is always appropriate. There's never an occasion when it is not. You probably wouldn't want to bring red roses for someone. It's just a friendship, or it's a friend of a friend that has invited you. And so then you want to bring just like white lilies. You can bring any other type of flower that is in bloom in that season. Okay, I do plan to do another show on flowers and their colors and their meanings, what they mean. So you can always do that. Carnations are always befitting. They come in various colors. So you can also bring flowers that are color themed, if you know that in advance, or if the host is hosting something like that. So flowers are always an appropriate gift, and it never hurts to bring it. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money. Another question. Good morning. Thank you for joining. Another mistake that people often make in general conversation is asking too many questions, or asking prying questions about the person that you are conversing with, that you're in conversation with. And so you find out that this person has a college degree, they have their master's, good morning, in education or in whatever area, but you find out that they're working, at a restaurant serving tables. Why are you working at a restaurant serving tables when you have all those credentials behind your name? And this is a person that you barely know. That's probably a little bit overboard. So you don't want to ask too many prying questions. You might not want to ask a person, why don't you have children? You all have been married for 10 years and you don't have any children? Why don't you have children? Maybe it's not their desire to have children. Not everyone wants to raise a family. So let's not ask questions that are overboard. You always have to think about the implications of your query before venturing out on a topic that could be pretty touchy to the other person that is on the other end. So let's not ask too many questions. Being deliberately rude. This is one that always takes the cake. Being deliberately rude when you know that what you're going to say is going to offset the person that you're conversing with, or even someone else that is in the group. So let's not be deliberately rude. It doesn't matter if it's your best friend. It doesn't matter if it's someone that you're meeting for the first time, or whatever the situation is. Let's not be deliberately rude. It doesn't matter if you are otherwise a really nice person. You have this, beautiful smile and all of these things. Let's not be deliberately rude. Sometimes someone may say something that offsets you, and it affects your emotions, and you want to say the first thing that comes to mind. How about let's just check our own tongue? Good morning, Bill. Good morning, flowers and beverage, or some small gift was always important. Exactly. No prying questions. Thank you for tagging on everything that I'm saying. So yes, you don't have to be deliberately rude. You should always greet people with a smile. And of course, when you're the person that's entering the room, you are the person that says, hello, good morning. You're the person that introduces yourself. You don't wait for someone to come and pull you over and introduce you to everyone else. When you're the person entering the room, then you are the person that starts the introductions. You introduce yourself to everyone else in the room. That is always the proper protocol. So there are a lot of tips and tricks for being a kinder person, and there are ways that we can train our brains, train our mind not to go to our first thought, especially if someone has said something that's upsetting to you. So let's just not be rude as a general rule of thumb. Being late to an event. This is another one that oftentimes really gets on the nerve of the host or the hostess. I said, now I told everybody 8:30, And here this person comes pulling in at 9 o'clock. Why are you late? Of course, sometimes things happen. You know, you get a flat tire. Your babysitter was running late behind you. You're riding with someone. That's right. Don't be rude, even if it's your best friend. You're riding with someone else, and the person that picked you up, they're running behind schedule. In instances like that, please call the host or hostess and let them know that you are running a little bit behind. And especially if it's the type of event where you're going to be participating, you don't want to be one of the participants in the event. You don't want to be a speaker at an event and you're running late, you're running behind. Even if it's a general meeting and getting together of friends, we all run late sometimes. I know that I do, but I make it a point to send a simple text or to make a quick phone call. Hey, you know what? I'm running about 10 minutes behind. If you're the kind of person that always wants to be late because when you get there, it's all about you, you're making your grand entrance because you want people to see what you're wearing, you want everyone to know that you have arrived, rude, rude, and rude again. Don't be late. If you find that you are running late, then inform someone, let someone know that you are running behind schedule. Now, this is one with me that just, I don't understand how people feel that it is okay to enter into a conversation and use every four-letter word that you can think of throughout the conversation. You know, it's, you know, oh, I can't believe this so-and-so did that. You know, she had the nerve to say No, let's leave all of the colorful language at home. Please do not bring that to an environment or bring that to a conversation with other people. And again, when there are other people, a part of the group that you are not acquainted with, you don't know how sensitive other people might be to your colorful language. And if your language, you know, is sailor style, which every other word, meaning every other word is a curse word, please leave that behind. It is rude and it is insensitive to speak that way in a group of people, again, especially when it's people that you may not have a relationship with or that you don't know very well. So you don't need to add that kind of off color to the conversation. There are other things that you can say. There are other words that you can use to express yourself, even when your expression might be a little bit heated or might be a little bit sensitive to you. There are other ways that you can express yourself without going over the top with language. You know, you might not think that much of what you're saying, but other people may have different feelings about it. So let's not go down that road. What happens when you're invited to a wedding? What happens when you're invited to an anniversary party and they sent the invitations out and you got yours and you intended to RSVP, but you forgot to RSVP? The event is 3 days away. So all the RSVPs have been received. You've gone past the date, even the late date they had for the stragglers that are coming in, and you did not RSVP. Should you show up to the event anyway? Not without calling the host and or the hostess and saying, you know what, my deepest apologies. I thought I sent my RSVP out, and I am realizing that your event is this weekend, and today is Wednesday. Is there yet room for me and whomever else you might be bringing? Because they sent the invitation to you, but maybe you are allowed to bring an additional person. So they've already fulfilled their quota. Do they have room for just 2 more people? It's just me and my husband. It's just me and my wife, my significant other. That's another plate that they have to pay for. And so maybe they've already fulfilled that obligation. And oftentimes when it's a dinner party, wedding receptions and like that, the venue will always make a few extra plates. You can't always count on that, though. You can't always count on that. And the individual may be charged a different fee, a different rate for bringing on a latecomer that has not applied, that has not sent in their RSVP by the due date. So if you are running behind in your RSVP, you need to make a phone call before you just show up anyway. thinking that, oh, it's just two other people. Two other people won't make a difference. What if you're not the only two other people that didn't RSVP but still want to attend? Maybe you got the invitation by word of mouth from someone else, and they said, well, I will tell her, I will ask them to add you to the guest list, and you will get your invitation. So you're thinking that you're invited, but maybe the host didn't get the information. Maybe the host didn't have time to send out another one. Maybe it was already too late. So if you got the invitation and you forgot to RSVP, you have to make amends, and the way to do that is, first of all, give a prompt response. When you get RSVPs, when you get invitations like that, make it a habit to respond to it right away. Don't put it aside on your desk. Don't put it aside and say, I'll get to that later, because we just get caught up with life. We're just living life every day. We're doing what we do every day, and oftentimes we forget. So if you address it as soon as you get it in the mail, you go to the mailbox, you have it, you come right into the house, you sit down at your table, your kitchen table, your desk, or whatever it is, and respond to it right away. Put a stamp on it and put it right in the mail. You tell your mailman however it is that you get your mail out. But respond to it immediately so that you're not caught up and finding yourself, oh my gosh, it's the last minute, it's 3 days away. I wanted to do that, but I thought. So if you want to give a prompt response, that means usually within a matter of a few days. So probably don't let a week go by. A week is a long time, because in the process of all of those days going past, you live in life and you're doing everything. And it's easy to forget with everything that you have to do in your own life every day. So the host is at the mercy of their vendors. So they need as much time as is possible for them to make arrangements on the other end, to make accommodations for you, right? So that is, which one am I on? I think I'm on number 5 or 4. Okay. So forgetting to say please and thank you. Small thing. Just kind words that your host or hostess would enjoy hearing. Again, when you are invited to an event, or just in general conversation with someone and they share a tip with you. Oh, thank you for that information. I didn't realize that. Oh, thank you so much. Could you please pass me such and such? Or not just, can you pass the salt? Can you pass the water pitcher? Can you please pass the water pitcher? Would you please pass the salt? Thank you so much. After they pass it, thank you. They pass it to you. Oh, thank you to your neighbor, whomever it is. So this is something that we should also teach our children very, very early. And I know most of us do, but manners matter. And the earlier you learn them, the easier it is for you to navigate through life with ease and without offending people. Because you never know how people feel on the other end. When you don't say please, when you don't say thank you, oftentimes the first thing a person thinks is, how rude. They didn't even say please. In traffic, you're driving in traffic. Good morning. Thank you for joining our broadcast. When you're driving in traffic and you're in the wrong lane and you want to get over, so do you turn and give a nod to the driver that's in the other lane? The one that's going to give you the pass, give you the go ahead to get through. Turn and get their attention. Don't just try to cut in. Right? And once you get their attention and they tell you, yes, go, they'll tell you, go ahead. So once they do that, then give them a nod of approval. Give them the nod of saying thank you. Just, thank you. Mouth it so that, they can see it or what have you. It's a small but kind gesture, okay? And it's easy to throw these phrases out. Just make it a part of your regular routine. People like to be appreciated, even in the smallest way. So let's go to the next one that oftentimes we do, sometimes not thinking that we're doing any harm, thinking that, oh, it's okay, it's just me and this person talking. Gossiping about other people really says more about you, actually, than it does about them. You're oftentimes passing information that might be misinformation. You might be misinformed. You might be sharing information with a third party that the second party told you that's clearly and only based on their opinion of that person. You may not even know if it's true or not. Good morning. Thank you for joining the broadcast. You don't even know if it's true. And now you're sharing it with a third party who may share it also with the fourth party, who may share it with the fifth party, and on and on and on it goes. And before you know it, there's a whole string of information out there about someone that you played a part in that can be damaging to the person that's being talked about, that's being gossiped about, and you don't even know if it's real or if it's true. That is poor manners of judgment, and it's just not something that we should participate in. This kind of habit is a thing that breeds negativity. Again, it hurts other people's feelings and can have real repercussions on that person, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in your social environment and circles. So let's not gossip. If you're going to say anything about a person, let's revert to the old rule that oftentimes our parents taught us when we were growing up. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. So if you can't say anything nice or that's pleasantly accommodating about the person, that is going to lift their spirits, that's going to help them shine in a good light, then let's zip it, lock it, and keep it to ourselves. And also, when people come to you with gossip, you can just say to them, I don't participate in gossip. Or, this information is what I call trash. This information is what I call garbage. And I don't hang around the garbage can. So I'd rather not even hear it. There have been times when I've been in situations, and I'm sure some of you have as well, when someone is heading to you to, or you're sitting down talking and the conversation veers off in a direction about another person. You can excuse yourself. Actually, that's a really good message to send to the tale bearer. You can excuse yourself, or you can sit there with the face. The face. The face. That sends a strong message to the participants that you're not playing in this game. You're not a participant. So that will actually oftentimes curb the conversation, cut it right off, or you can intervene simply by saying, you know what, I don't know this person, or I do know this person, but I don't appreciate being a part of a conversation where negative things are being said. We don't even know if this information is true. And even if it is true, is it your responsibility to spread it to everyone else? Is it really? Is it your responsibility to do that? So let's not participate in gossip. It has lasting effects. You don't know, again, the temperament of the person that's on the receiving end, the person that's being gossiped about. If they find out, how are they going to react? Are they going to come and confront you? Well, so-and-so told me that you said this, this, and this about me. So that breeds a lot of negativity, and it just, it's poor manners. And again, you have to consider the person that is the subject of the conversation. So let's move on to our next thing that people sometimes don't realize, that it is a faux pas. You are a part of a conversation, you're talking about a certain thing, and everybody is participating, or it's you one-on-one with an individual and they're talking about things you have no idea what they said. Not because you don't understand the subject matter, but simply because your attention is divided. You're not even listening. You're not even listening. Good morning. Thank you for joining the broadcast. And so they ask you a question relative to what they just said, and you, or you give a response that's not relative to what they were talking about at all. That lets them know she's not listening to anything that I'm saying. She didn't hear a word that I said. So they're kind enough to repeat themselves. Well, Victoria, what I said was, did you hear about, or I was sharing with you about the situation that I'm going through, and I really want your opinion, but you aren't really listening. Maybe your mind is filled with something else. Maybe it's something really important to you. But if you've entered into the conversation, you've allowed yourself to be a part of the conversation with this person, the least you can do is pay attention to what they're saying. One of the worst things you can do when you're in conversation with another person or individuals is to be on your phone. while you all are chatting, while you're spending time together. That is very dismissive. It is oftentimes, again, hurtful to the other parties that are there or to the other person that is there. So let's open our ears. Let's dismiss what's in our head, because you've relegated that time to sit and chat with them. So the least you can do is pay close attention to what they're saying. If a person says something and you hear everything, but you're not sure if what they said was what they intended to say, or you interpreted it a certain way and you want to make sure, so you pose the question, so girlfriend, what I'm understanding your statement to say is thus and thus and thus. You said this, this, and this, and what I take from that is this, this, and this. Is that what you meant? Before I give a response. You can do that. Get clarity. Get clarity if you're really listening. Get clarity on what the subject or the topic or the question is before you respond. That's so appreciated by the other individual. Okay? So you don't have to worry about your response and listening until your conversation partner has come to a natural stopping point. That's the other thing. When you're sitting with someone and you're chatting, don't interrupt them. Let them go on and talk, and let them come to a natural stopping point or a natural pause. And you say, wait a minute, excuse me, before you go further, let me get an understanding. It was a lot of information. And so you said point 1, you said point 2, you said point 3. These are the things that you said, right? And so now I can move. Okay, good. Now I understand. So we can move forward from there. So make sure that you are actively listen, not passively listen. Passive means that your body is there, but your mind is not. Okay? So let's be careful also. Let's move on to the next one. Let's be careful about public displays of affection. Everyone loves to be out and about, and you see a couple walking and they're holding hands and they stop and give one another a kiss, or they stop and give each other an embrace, or you see someone standing outside on the sidewalk or what have you, or standing at a particular location and someone is coming to pick them up, and they see each other and you see the person stretch their arms out and the other person is running towards them. Oh, such a storybook. Oh, look at how romantic all of this is. Oh my gosh. We all relish in that kind of display of public affection. Sometimes it just might not be appropriate to enter in to public displays of affection. Sometimes it's appropriate and sometimes it's not. And you need to know the difference before you grab your loved one and give them a big, juicy, sloppy, wet one in public at the dinner party where your boss is, or, where there are delegates, above you. So just be mindful. Good morning, and thank you for joining our platform on this morning. Romance is great. And we all love it. We love being romantic. We love being romanced. We love seeing it openly. But sometimes it's better to keep your feelings private. When you get home, you have, all the room and all the time you need to be as romantic as you want to be and display affection towards one another. But sometimes you just have to know when it is appropriate and when it's not. Leaning over and giving a peck on the cheek or something like that may be in order. But, going all out, let's be careful about those things. Let me see. I think we have 2 or 3 more. So that was 7, 8. It was 8. So yes, we are now 8. Good morning. Thank you for joining the broadcast. We're talking about etiquette faux pas and behavior faux pas that we often make and we're not even aware of. We've gone through 8 of them, and now we're entering into the last 2. So another thing that happens oftentimes when you're in a public setting, especially when you're out dining, stiffing your server. There's an art to tipping, and you should always try to leave something for your server, right? Generally now, it's about 20%, depending upon the type of restaurant. that you are attending, and it's 20% pre-tax, not after tax. It's 20% pre-tax. When you are at a sit-down restaurant, that's the general rule of thumb that you're going to tip about 20%. Some restaurants, and I've said this before, some restaurants automatically add it to your bill, so you don't have an option. They automatically add it in. I mean, I guess you could always say, I wasn't intending to leave a tip, but that would be rude. So let's just go with the flow on that one. So what's not okay is giving your server no tip at all. Whether you don't like them, whether they offered horrible service, tips are an important part of the server's income because oftentimes they live off of their tips. Their tips is what makes them go home with a bounty at the end of the day or at the end of the week. So no matter how bad the service is, you should give at least 15%, nothing less than that. You know, not doing so is one of the worst things you can do at a restaurant. It's not leaving a tip at all. And trust me, we've all been in dining situations where the service has not been great, but I always leave a tip anyway. If you have a serious complaint, you can take that complaint to the manager. But when you have the ability to positively affect that person's income, please do so in a positive way. Let's see. And our last tip. I'm sorry. I'm going through my notes again, making sure that I did not leave anything out. In a conversation, again, who you're talking about. In a conversation, at a dinner party, at a social event, around the lunch table, at work, in the break room. And all you can talk about is yourself. Is that polite? Or is that not okay? It's not okay to make yourself the topic of conversation. And everything you have to talk about is always about you. People are talking about their grandchildren. They're talking about their most recent vacation. They're talking about, another event that they're planning or something new, some activity that they want to get involved in. And they're just sharing that information amongst friends. And the only thing you can do is talk all about you. It's all about me. It's all about me. And this is what I'm talking about. It's all about me. Oh, well, did I tell you about the last time I did such and such? Did I tell you about the time when I went skiing? Did I tell you about the time when I did such and such? It becomes all about you. And it shouldn't be all about you. Join in the conversation and partake of what's being talked about. You can add, if you had that same experience, when you're talking about skiing. Oh, girl, yes, I remember the last time I went skiing. I had a fabulous time. It was great. Have you been to such and such place? Have you been to this ski resort or what have you? Add to the conversation, but don't make the conversation all about you. It's rude. It's self-centered. People are like, I can't believe every time we get together, that's all she's talking about. It's always about her and everything she did and where they went and, how much money they have and all of those things. And it doesn't have to be things of a sensitive nature. Good morning, thank you for joining. It doesn't have to be things of a sensitive nature. But you shouldn't make it all about you. Join in the conversation. Add flavor, add zest, add quality to the conversation. But don't make it all about you. Include everyone else and be attentive to the things that they are discussing. And again, add to it. But don't make it the Victoria Show or whatever your name is. Don't make it all about you, right? So those are just some Tidbit Tuesday tips that I wanted to share with you this morning. 10 of the top 10 etiquette faux pas that we often make, and sometimes we're just not aware that maybe this isn't how this should be done. Maybe this isn't how the conversation should go. Maybe I should only leave them a 5% tip instead of at least 15. It's embarrassing, right? So if you have a complaint, take it to the management, okay? But don't not leave a tip at all because you are impacting that person's income. So always level up. Always level up, always offer more, right? Than what you normally would, because that you put out is what's going to come back to you. So I want to thank you all for being a part of the broadcast on this morning. Thank you for taking time out of your morning to join me on Tidbit Tuesdays. If you didn't catch the whole show, hit the replay button. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel by the same name, Victoria School of Etiquette, go on over there and hit the subscribe button. That way you have access to all of our video material at your fingertips and at your convenience. And just as a final word, I always tell my clientele and my listeners and viewing audience, always remember that the manners that you practice at home are the ones that are going to show up in public. So let's have a great etiquette day. It's raining here in the Chi. I hope it's pleasant where you are. Until next time, this is Lady Victoria signing off. Until the next time, we will chat again. Bye for now.